Welcome to A Mick, a Mook, and a Mike.
Hosted by four-time Emmy-nominated producer
Frank Pace and retired New York City firefighter, 9/11 first responder, and Vietnam vet, Billy O'Connor.
Today's guest.
One of the greatest professional basketball players of all time, Artis Gilmore.
My brother.
My brother Frank, how you doing today, brother? Looking good.
I'm good, and look who's here. Our guest today is Artis Gilmore himself.
Himself. Yeah, just in time for the NBA playoffs. The man himself.
Yep.
It's two and two. Two white guys and two brothers.
And look, the white guys are on top too. That's crazy.
Oh no, not me. I got you guys in the corners.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So,
Good.
Artis, you been playing any golf lately?
Well, Frank, let's see. Let me think about that for a minute. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have been playing. I played. And Frank, guess what? I played with you a few days ago.
In Florida, and what happened that day?
Something really exciting happened. I had a hole in one, Frank. Could you witness that? A
Wow.
hole in one. That was my second one in life, man.
Wow.
Only about 40 years apart, but
Hey there.
my second hole in one.
Did you see the ball go in the hole, or was it an elevated green?
Kind of. It was rolling. In fact, it was kind of weird. There was some photographs taken with me with my putter in my hands. When those photographs was dispersed, everybody says, if he had a hole in one, why would he have a putter in his hand? But anyways, we were standing there with the unsurety. We watched the ball go into the hole. But it was just kind of that uncertainty. We walked up there, and one of the guys, Mike Hartley, says, "Hey, I saw the ball go into the trap on the other side." And sometimes you get that rush, and then you think about it and say, well, maybe what I saw didn't happen. So,
Well, I hit next, or the second one following the hole in one, and I hit a great shot. And as it was rolling toward the hole, I said, no one would believe we made two hole in ones in the same round. But I rolled like 5 feet past.
Wow,
we had some great shots on that hole.
Did you make the putt,
So,
Frank?
Hall of Famer
I just want
Artis
to say one
Gilmore.
thing.
Okay, why don't you say one thing?
Well, I was just going to say that, Artis, you have 2 hole-in-ones in your life, right? And so that's 10%. That's really close to Tiger. He only has 20. So you got a little bit to go.
Man, when you watch those guys and they hit the ball so unbelievable, it's just like any other professional athlete. They are great at what they do. And the professionals, it is so incredible to watch them, hit that ball so close to the hole and put it in. You says Tiger has 20 holes in.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
And when I watch them, and they're in the middle of the fairway, 200 yards or 195 out, and the caddy says, hit it 197. not 195, 198. Hit it 197.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy indeed.
And just think about, Frank, all the other mathematics, the math that the caddy provides for the player. The wind is blowing just a little bit, about 10%, and it's going to the left or the right, and all those little details are included.
Yeah,
And
I think that's a lot of bullshit, because Sam Snead didn't have any of that stuff, and he shot 66s and 64s with fucking balata balls that smile, that you put smiles on them. And
when this young kid, Tiger Woods, came along, the courses were really short. I mean, it was really short. But when this young kid came along and changed the whole, I mean, Seed and all those guys, they
That's a good point.
couldn't even close. Couldn't hit the ball like these guys. It takes me. I hit the ball not too bad on a drive, but it would take me three shots to get to that drive. So
It's unbelievable.
Let me ask one more question about this. Sorry, Billy.
No.
Artis, do you have clubs that are longer than the average person?
I said they are not, but if I have Frank, maybe he can say what are they 46 my 46-inch driver, Frank?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Derrec, they are. They're special clubs, and my
Okay,
driver
makes
is
sense.
almost 50 inches. It's 48,
Got
and
it. Okay.
everything is scaled off that, and as well as the grips are built up. So yes, it is kind of designed to make my game a little bit more awkward than it is.
Right.
Billy's driver is 2 inches long.
We're not talking about my appendages, Frank. We're not talking about the appendages. We're talking about golf here. Clean it up, will you? I got a picture of my mother in my wallet. You want to clean it up a little bit?
You know what? I'm going to leave that part of the golf game to you guys.
You know what blows my mind? These guys, 526-yard par fours, right? And then they're hitting the wedge on their second shot. I'm like, I can't imagine. And they hit their wedges like 160, 170. I'm like, insane.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Artis.
I was going to say, Tiger Woods, when this game becomes sort of raggedy a little bit, he put his driver back into the bag and started hitting like a 3-wood. And you imagine hitting a 3-wood, 300 and something yards. It's just incredible.
When Tiger's hairline started looking like your hairline now, that's when he lost it.
You like that?
I do. Your hairline.
Great admirer.
Your hairline looks better than Tiger's.
Well, I tell you, the four of us will never be doing hair commercials. I can tell you that.
Well, Derrek's got the tight lies look going on. So
he's just a youngster.
Hey, this is like talking to Tiger Woods about basketball. Nobody wants to hear Artis Gilmore talking about golf. Well, maybe they do, but they really want to hear Artis Gilmore talking about basketball. Hall of Famer. Your stats are incredible. 25,000 points, leading field goal percentage in the NBA, ABA history. 42 rebounds in the game, or 42 points in the game, 40 rebounds in the game. What the hell was that game like? How the hell did you get 40 rebounds?
Well, I pushed Dr. J to the side because he also like that hole-in-one, Frank.
Yeah.
Dr. J was a witness to that game with those kind of stats that you're quoting right now.
Wow.
40 rebounds, unbelievable. And you have the highest percentage? I didn't know you had the highest percentage of field goals.
In the history of the game.
Unbelievable. I didn't know that.
I mean, said I had to make them count.
What was your? What was your best shot, Artis? Was it a slight hook, or did you use the glass a lot? Did you?
The dunk shot was his best shot.
Oh, of course.
I mean, just an incredible subject there, because initially, when I graduated from high school back in a few centuries ago, you could still dunk the ball. But when I entered college, they'd taken the dunk shot away because of this young kid named Lou Alcindor. He had some influence on that. But
that's crazy.
What happened over the years, developing that skill level, you had to change from being able to come in just with the slam dunk. And so my best shot that I was able to develop was the little kind of a two-footed jump hook shot. And the reason I used that was because if you use that step into the lane with the sweeping hook shot, that allowed the double team to come from the opposite side. So to really share that 2-footed jump hook shot was my best shot that I developed and allowed me to move forward as far as high field goal percentage.
Absolutely unblockable. I mean, a 2-foot hook shot. How are you going to block that? I mean,
What's your take on the playoffs now?
I think it's really fascinating. One team get blown all the way out. No, it is really, really good. And you're speaking some of the details of the young players, and I hear so many versions of people expressing the fact that, man, well, I don't like the basketball today because of this, whatever. But I think it is fantastic. These kids are incredible athletes, and just to watch them handle the ball. I mean, sometimes what the coaches most frustrating to coaches is the guys turning the ball over, just kicking it up in the stands. But they make enough money now that the gamblers are not getting to the kids and saying that, hey, the reason that happened is because, you throw in the game, make some extra dollars. But the kids make so much money and they're so talented and they come from all over the world and they bring their version of the game and they interlock it into the NBA. And that has really brought about something really kind of really special about the game. Just watching these kids and the passing and, when they're working together, it really is a good brand of basketball in the playoffs now. The playoffs. What's the guy says in the playoffs? We're not even talking about the playoffs, but
Right.
it's happening in the playoffs. Watching these kids really with an excellent performance.
What do you think about the physical play being brought back into the game?
Yeah.
The refs are letting them play a little bit more physical. Not as physical as you. Not as physical when they used to maim and kill people. I remember your arms after your game with Kareem were all scratched up. I mean, your arms look like a kitty scratch pad or something. But
Yeah, right.
but you guys used to really go after it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That was like going to a bullfight and, you wasn't given any kind of a protection. I don't know how that scenario fit into this. Anyways, Frank,
But the physical play, they're
You
the
you
refs
like
are
it?
that's what I was going to really address is that, yes, the physical play, and because everything is magnified at such an incredible level, and really to keep a good sports and keep it under control, and because it's a big $1 billion business, and you got to treat it that way. And so the old stuff, they were not. I mean, I remember reflecting way back when I was drafted into the league, and Pembroke Burrows, my colleague teammate, he was drafted, and he was drafted to the Seattle Supersonics, and uh, because he was the last player cut, because they could only keep 12-man roster, and he was the last guy released because the last guy on the team was making like $35,000 a year, and they were not going to get a cut a guy for a young player like Pembroke, and you know all of that's changed now. All of it has changed, and because um, the foresight of great leaders in the NBA, like the commissioner and the pioneers of the game, like the Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, and those guys have made this game what it is today exciting.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Ars. Let's run down a couple of the great centers that you played against, because Billy's fascinated with Wilt. Why don't you tell Billy and us and our audience what it was like the one time you played against Wilt? What was Wilt like as a player?
Well, you know, uh, there's another story that I would love to share with you, but I'm going to hold off on that one. Uh, but
Uh,
Wilt has always
What?
been an incredible.
Well, yeah, you're not going to
You
hold
can't
off
do
on
that,
it.
Dawson.
Once you started it, you can't do that.
Okay.
You got to
All
tell us the
right.
story, Artis.
Now, this has a lot to do with Wilt. When when I was in my colleague Ernie Fleming and I, we were in at junior college, and
At
so we
Gardner
went
Webb.
Gardner Webb Junior College, which is now is a great 4-year institution. But what happened was Ernie and I was traveling. I think we had gone to his home in Fall River, Massachusetts, but we were on our way to back to Gardner Webb. But somehow we ended up in New York, and when we was at Rutgers basketball, and out there at Rutgers as they were playing. I mean, if you and Billy, you know about Rutgers and how. No, that's right. You was out there fighting fires. But anyways, at Rutgers, I mean, the crowd was just wall to wall, and they would have, uh, I mean, all the stars, all the big time stars were there, and if they weren't playing, it was around them. In this case, it was Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain was over there, and my friend and Ernie and I, we walked in, and it says, he punched me. He said, "Man, there's Wilt over there, Wilt." And I said, "Man," he said, "Why don't you go over there and talk to him?" And I said, "Man, that's Wilt Chamberlain. I can't go over there and talk to him." So, what Ernie and I did, we were trying to inch around the fence, and we was going to ease up the Wilt, and then we was going to, turn around and introduce ourselves and say, "Hello, Mr. Wilt." And we walked over as we approached and got near in the proximity, real close to Wilt. All of a sudden, I think Wilt smelt that little deal out. Then we went to look up. We looked up, and all of a sudden, Wilt was gone.
Wow.
uh, but
Well,
back to playing against Wilt, my first time ever. I had just came back from Italy my rookie year, and they had that super game they called the ABA and the NBA. And they only played, I like two games, I think, before the NBA said, "No, that's enough of that." But the last one we're playing, and the one I played in, was Nassau Coliseum, and they had just built the Coliseum. It's brand new. And uh, my first time on the floor against Wilt, I said, "Man, this man is strong." And the coach, Bianchi, I remember he was our coach, our all-star coach, and he says, well, Wilt is going to try to block your shot and really intimidate you. So when you take it right to him. And I said, "Okay, I'm taking it right to him, man." And then all of a sudden I took it and I ran into this stone wall. Then
so
I
he
realized
was
that, hey,
super strong
yeah,
guy.
yeah, and Wilt just all of a sudden just shoved me, man, and I went flying across the floor. And then I realized, hey, I've got a ways to go yet, but this is my idol doing this to me, And reflecting back on that time back at Ruckus Park, it was just an incredible experience.
And you turned out probably not as strong as Wilt, but you were probably the second strongest man to ever play professional basketball because, you were unbelievable. Hubie Brown said that as well.
Yeah,
The
right.
durability.
I can claim that. Yeah, yeah, that was after Wilt. I think I handled myself pretty well in that department.
You
What was
guys,
it?
the durability, you guys, though. I mean, we'll play just about every minute of every game, and so did you. I mean, it's like it's not like that anymore. It seems like it's and like Frank said before, it seems like this year they're letting them play. Like the refs are laying off a little bit. Like it's not a foul every 10 seconds, every 15 seconds. Which is good to
Yeah,
see.
Billy, you got a great point there, especially, with the playoffs now. They really allow a little bit more activity. I mean, because this is it. Everything is on the line, and uh, it's really, really allowed. And as I think about the health wise, the nutrition that we did not have, but these kids have available to them, and they're so big and they're so strong, and things could get out of control in a minute. And I think they do a great job, especially with the secondary, those challenges and things that they've inserted into the game. It really has made a difference in and the elevation, the interest, and just a combination of other things about the game. Frank.
Hey, Artis, before I forget, you've got a book out. Why don't you show us that book? I saw it over your shoulder.
Yes, sir.
Oh, look at that.
All right, cool.
And
Look at the wings. Look at the wingspan.
Billy, what's our publisher's name?
Our publisher's name?
Yeah, because Artis's book is published by the same people that published our book.
Do we cheat him in hell?
No. No.
We've got to get this out there.
Yeah, what's the name of the book? I can't read the name. What's
Just put it close to the camera.
Here comes the A train.
All right, here
Oh,
comes the A
nice.
train. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Frank, you can flip that earphone up if you
Oh,
can
wait a
flip it out.
second. Wait a second.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah.
Our book is published by the same publisher, and the publisher is Acclaim Press. So if you want Artis's book or any of our 3 books, just log on to acclaimpress.com. That's AcclaimPress.com.
Is your book available on Amazon too? Artis?
Yes. So, Artis, you played against a lot of memorable people. What was it like playing with Kareem? You guys had some epic battles with the Lakers.
Oh, we did. And, when I, and, oh, my,
Uh-oh.
It's okay. Just keep talking, Artis.
Yeah, if he keeps talking, well, it'll edit when you clean it up at the end.
Look at that. Look at Billy.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Billy.
I know my electronics. I know about this kind of shit, Frank.
Yeah. One of the questions I had for you, Frank, was so now that you are producing in modern times,
Oh, all right. So now that I'm producing in modern times,
What was Charlie Chaplin really like, Frank?
what would you say are the main differences today outside of I know that there's a structure change in terms of like number of people. What would you say are outside of that are the main differences? Just like the top 3 differences between now and before.
the top 3 differences are the people back in the prehistoric days were more artists. Now the business was run by artists. Now the business is run by accountants and lawyers.
Wow.
The second difference is that I think that the artists and the lawyers command more money for people that work above the line. The above the line costs have gotten out of control, and the below the line costs are cutting back. And I don't even think there's a third difference. But Artis is back again.
Hey, welcome back. It's okay.
For a short time, because I don't know what's wrong with my Wi-Fi. It is just ridiculous.
Anyway, why don't you go back to talking about Kareem, and I'll think about the third difference.
Okay.
Well, we had some epic matches. I mean, this goes back to my exhibition game against him when he played with the Milwaukee Bucks in Lou Alcindor, and I was a Kentucky Colonels. And, of course, um, I can always reflect on, say, the fact that he grew up in New York and he had a better surroundings to help him to develop and get such I think, leaps and bounds of development compared to what I had that was available to me.
Hmm.
But anyways, Kareem just he played he forced me to play a different kind of a game and learn, especially playing against the big men who were just as incredibly talented as uh, uh, as Kareem was. And we in Chicago, when I came to Chicago, the only time we get fans in the stadium is when we play in Philadelphia, we play in Boston, we play in the Lakers. And so our guys really elevated themselves to play in those particular games. But the matchup was between Kareem and myself. Always was really good. I mean, goes back, from that point, and even the San Antonio. I thought we played the Lakers extremely well back in I think it was '83 in the conference finals. Uh, we lost. We only won 2 games, but the 2 games we won we happened to be on the Lakers floor, and we could not win on our floor. But
Wow.
it was it's a great matchup between Kareem and myself, and except for the first game, the very first game, and I think there was a holdover by one of the officials was fined for a mistake that he made in the game against the Lakers. And so when we played the first round in the playoffs, now I'm just not this is a fact. These are facts. And all of a sudden, this guy, this official, was officiating this game, and in the first couple of minutes, I had 3 fouls against Kareem. I mean, in the playoffs, and
That's
that
ridiculous.
that was a really good game for Kareem. They won that game, but we came back the second game. I had like 30 something points, and really played well. And we went back to San Antonio, lost the game, back to Lakers and won, and they came back and finished us off and went on to Philadelphia, and that's when Philadelphia won the championship with Moses Malone.
What was it like
Generally,
playing? What was it like playing against Moses?
Moses was, I mean, just a great matchup. And I remember when Moses came into the league, especially in Utah, uh, Moses would never talk. He would never speak. And I can't remember the coach's name during the time. He said, you know, I do everything I can for Moses, but he won't talk to me. He says, can you possibly get him to talk, say something,
Wow.
share? So I don't know what to do. But and I started talking to Moses, and he become my friend from that day to this one. But Moses was just straight out of high school in Petersburg, Virginia, and he he just
Wa-
was trying to find his way, uh, because
Was he
Moses was
just
like
was he
me.
okay, go ahead, sorry. He was like you?
I said, go ahead.
No, no, I'm sorry. I interrupted you. Moses was like you?
Yeah, in many ways, the background schooling, and so he was in a situation where he was really afraid of what was in front of him, but he was willing to open himself up and take that challenge.
Wow.
Who was the artist? Who gave you the most trouble? Who was the best defensive center you ever faced? I mean, who gave you a hard time out of all of them?
Uh, oh. And just to reverse offensively, who was the toughest guy I had to compete against? But if I just start naming guys, it was everybody came to play every night. Bill Walton, Kareem, Bob Lanier, Dave Cowens. I mean, it was just a host of guys that was just an incredible challenge. Of course, this was before I came in the league with Willis Reed and some of the other, Nate Thurman. Those guys had moved on, but you still had guys guys who had just come in, like Bob Lanier, and then you had Kareem who'd been in it for a couple of years. So Dave Cowens had been in for a year, and those were the type guys really that created a challenge for me both ways. Dave, I could take him. There was a funny experience that I I was playing against him, and I put some pressure, just a little bit of pressure. Now, sometimes my little bit of pressure is a lot. So I put a little bit of pressure against Dave.
Dave
Dave just
Cowens.
flopped down on the Dave Collins. Yes, Dave Collins. Dave just flopped down on the floor, and he says to the official, "You're not going to call this? You're not going to call it?" And I just turned around and put the ball in the basket. But those type guys who really created challenge for me, Bill Walton, when he was healthy, he was just as a great a center as there were. You know,
You mentioned Dave Cowens, and I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the miracle year of 1969, 1970 at Jacksonville University. We lost. I say we because I was at Jacksonville University
he was
then.
very much a part of that, Frank.
Yeah. But what was that year like? How did it come about? Can you go? You lost one regular season game to Dave Cowens in Florida State. Why don't you tell us a little about that miracle year? Because the SEC was starting one black player in the entire league, and JU was playing three, and you guys did a great service.
Boy, here we are again.
Oh, you freezing up again.
That's okay. We'll just.
Yeah,
we'll
I tell you, I'm
yes.
surprised that Artis that mentioned Cowens. I mean, not that Cowens wasn't a great player, but he was 6'8", and man, I was always amazed me how they won with Cowens. I mean, he was great center, but 6'8", it's kind of small for a center.
Well,
That's such
I
a
think
crazy thing to say.
Bill Russell was only 6'8".
Really?
You could,
I didn't know that.
as Casey Stengel would say, you could look it up.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's mind blowing. I had no idea Russell was only 6'8".
Maybe 6'9".
Wow. I tell you, I know Barkley. I mean, everybody listed Barkley as 6'6", 6'7". I met Barkley in a bar in Phoenix shooting pool, and the guy I was with was 6'4", and he was the exact same size as Barkley.
Yeah.
I mean, but he played like he was 6'8", but he was no way he was 6'7" or 6'6". But I had no idea Russell was only 6'8". Wow.
Yep.
I had no idea. Wow.
So what's the third difference, Derrec?
Yeah.
Computers, cell phones, the ease of communications.
Wow.
Now,
Hey.
There he is. I'm back. Himself is
man.
back.
welcome back. Okay, so Artis, why don't you tell us about Jacksonville University, 1969, 1970? We talked about how it changed the city, but why don't you tell it from your standpoint, because you're the reason we're there.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Frank. And I want to include this other incredible friend. I spoke about Ernie Fleming and myself earlier when we met Wilt. But Ernie and I, we departed from Gardner Well, and in fact, I was riding with Ernie. This is a funny story, but a true story. Is that Ernie says, Joe Williams had recruited him to Jacksonville University, but you know, the only way that he would love to come, that I have a good friend of mine, he's 7'2", and I like to bring him along.
And
But it's a true story.
he wrote him a letter, right? He said,
Yeah,
"I have a
he
7'2"
wrote Joe a letter,
friend."
says, man, that I would love to come to
That's
the
so funny.
university. Man, no, in fact, he said, I'm ready to come there now. I wasn't able to leave from high school and come straight there, but after spending time at Gardner Webb, yes, I am ready to come to Jacksonville University. And in fact, I have a friend of mine like to come along as well. His name is Artis Gilmore. He's 7 foot tall.
That's so
Well,
funny. That's so
anyway,
funny.
that's the beginning of the story. That trip to Jacksonville. And then I met guys like Frank Pace, and he became my brother. And we combination, a unit of one. And we were just an incredible family. The environment, especially basketball, connected because uh, as so many have shared on so many different occasions, the tension, the racial tension that was just during that time frame. And Frank spoke about, black players. We had 3 black players at Jacksonville University in the Southeastern Conference. I think maybe had one, you know, and it was kind of questionable around really challenging around that environment. So, but that year at Jacksonville, we were very different with that environment. That we were able to bring uh, everybody together, especially on the team. We played so well together. And we went back and we were talking about Dave Collins earlier, and the huge game, you think about Florida, not really known for basketball, especially during that time, and not so much with football. But football was a lot bigger and better than basketball. But Jacksonville, we had student population of possibly 2,200 kids. And we were able to we received that bid to go to the NC2A tournament, and we went and we were really excelling. I mean, our first trip to Dayton, Ohio, and that was kind of a special moment too. Where we were playing, you think in terms there was only 3 television networks, and we were playing Dayton, Ohio, and in Jacksonville, Florida, on Florida Avenue, they were rioting and burning in in that city. That was the kind of environment that was going on during that incredible run for us in the NC2A tournament. But afterwards, we were able to excel and compete and play against UCLA in the national championship. Of course, we lost, but that brought about something. It just galvanized the entire community and changed the sign just a little bit, just a
Who
little bit.
who were some of your teammates on that Jacksonville team, Artis?
And my teammates, Pembroke Burrows, who I mentioned probably earlier, Von Wedekin, Chip Dublin, Rex Morgan, Rod McIntyre. Did I say Von Wedekin?
You said
Yeah,
Well,
said
repeat that again.
Greg
But
it's all
Greg
good.
Greg Nelson.
Greg Nelson, yeah, Danny Hawkins,
Yep.
and Ken Selke,
Curtis Kruger.
uh, Curtis Crew, and Rusty
Russ.
Baldwin.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
Yes,
You guys had a great team. I
they
heard
did.
that Rex Morgan was later drafted by the Celtics. He was a second round pick after Dave Cowens. I think Dave Cowens was drafted number 1, and Rex was just drafted number 2. And Rex was kind of a wild child. They were called Batman and Robin at JU. And Red Auerbach, then the legendary coach of the Celtics, had Rex and Dave Cowens together for 2 years when he decided that Rex was a bad influence uh, on Dave Cowens, because Dave Cowens was also sort of a wild child, I believe. So they cut Rex to keep him away from up to negate his bad influence. He was called on
Yeah,
Cowan.
yeah, that's exactly. So what Rex would just really reckless Rex. That's what we call him because, and then he went to the Celtics, and I mean he was out there all the time, just having a ball, and and Red said he had to make a decision. Either I'm gonna work with Dave or Rex Morgan. So he said Rex is a huge bad influence on Dave, so they ended up releasing him.
Well, we made a movie in 2018 called Jacksonville Who. So if anybody wants to spend an hour with Artis and his teammates and the people that were instrumental in bringing racial change to Jacksonville, and I would just invite you to go on and Google Jacksonville Who, and you'll see the movie.
It's a fine documentary.
Pretty good
Joe.
movie.
It's a really good
Yeah,
movie.
great movie. Great, well
Really
done.
is well done.
Well done by a director, Frank Pace.
Frank, yes.
Who?
Frank Pace, a great director, Frank Pace.
Wonderful producer.
Well, no, that wasn't good enough. You got to repeat that one more time.
Yes, so I just want to let everybody know there was a great director named Frank Pace who directed Jacksonville Who. Who?
You are
Frank
Billy.
Pace.
You are Derrec.
Very well. Thank you, Derrec.
You are so full of shit.
No, I'm not. Actually, I told you this. I told you this off camera a long time ago. That you did a great job with that film.
That was really cool documentary. I thought it was good too.
Not easy to do.
Yep.
No.
You know what drives me crazy about when you guys played? I think the marketing now. I mean, like, it's great for the NBA that they're so big, they're international, the money involved is wonderful. But I mean, when people talk about the greatest of all times, and your guys, your names like Chamberlain, they never come up because, I mean, I heard somebody say Dennis Rodman's the best rebounder ever. I just started laughing. I mean, because the market, we saw you guys play in the NBA once a week on Sunday. Maybe they'd have a game, usually Celtics, Knicks, or whatever, Chicago, San Antonio, whatever. But now it's constant ESPN. It's and the marketing makes these guys bigger than life. And I mean, I don't think it's just justified. There's no way that Chamberlain and your name shouldn't be in the top 10 that ever lived.
Now Billy's going away.
And I'm going away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ain't no sunshine.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
I'm
okay, it's not your
going.
fault. Just say it
Am I
again.
back? Am I back?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's ridiculous. I mean, because the amount of marketing now, these guys are in everybody's mind, and they don't realize how good you guys were, and because you weren't on TV constantly. It wasn't like ESPN every night. It was once a week maybe you see an NBA game.
Well, there's so much incredible that's packed into just that. Of course, then there was no money. I mean, just imagine there was only 3 networks and they was competing against each other. They were not, and in fact, they was in cahoot with each other.
Yeah.
To make sure that, this thing stays even. I'm not going to try to dig into your pocket too deep, and I want you digging at mine.
Right.
But as time went along and the technology that we have here, just right here in front of us, is so much advanced compared to back then. They only had, I mean, we got 4 people here, and they only had 3 whole networks in the whole entire country. So all that changed. It had changed. I mean, every player on the team. I mean, I think back when Bill Russell only had that the only commercial, the AT&T commercial. He was the only player, a basketball athlete that I knew of, had an endorsement on television. The AT&T where he flips it over his head and tosses it in the basket. Yeah, I mean, today every player on the team has got an endorsement. He's got a shoe commercial. He's got a shoe deal. But that's just the difference. That's the market today. That is what has changed in the game.
Hey, Artis, aside from being in the Hall of Fame, you were also inducted into the Chicago Bulls Ring of Honor, the inaugural class with Michael Jordan. Why don't you tell us about what that night was like?
Oh man, just another incredible honor that, I started out in the NBA with the Bulls and things just kind of went awry. When I said awry, I got traded, but I came back and I had a chance to play. Michael was into his fourth year and I played half of the year with him. And of course, I finished the last half with Larry Bird in Boston. But that particular moment of receiving that honor and that recognition with such an established, incredible group of individuals, that first class, a ring of honor for the with Chicago Bulls. It just was uh, just an incredible and emotional moment for me, Frank.
Who else was in that Ring of Honor besides you and Michael Jordan? Inaugural class?
Let's see. Let me name the people. There was Artis Gilmore. There was the A Train, and there was who else was there? Oh, you said Michael Jordan,
Oh, yeah.
Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen.
Yes, and uh,
I have a
Bob
question.
was
Bob.
Bob. No,
Oh,
Bob Love.
Bob Love. Go ahead, Derrec.
So I have a question. A friend of mine is from you guys' generation. I asked him if he wanted to ask you a question. So he does. He said you played 24 games with Michael Jordan, who's considered one of the greatest players of all time. What do you remember about the times that you played with him?
So Derek, you said you have a friend from y'all generation. So what does that mean? We are just old farts.
It's not that far. It's not that far.
Okay, all right.
I'm 55, but he's in his 70s. So I'm assuming
Oh
since you went
my
to college,
God! If I'm 55,
Is he
I
Homo
still be in the
erectus? Homo
NBA
erectus?
playing.
I think you would be. Yeah, I think you would be.
No, I'm sorry. That was I couldn't let you off the
I
hook.
love that. I
Repeat
love
that
that.
question again.
Yeah, so he said that you played. He said that you played 24 games with Michael Jordan. What do you remember about the times that you played with him?
Well, I remember even going back to practice how intense that he was. I mean, he were in practice.
Right.
Uh, Michael, I mean, he was really uh, um like say just not anxiety or anything, but just ready to go.
Right.
And mentally and physically, he was ready to go. He was always thinking about what's going on during the course of the game, and that was something that I was kind of refreshing my thoughts. And man, I should have been at this point with my thought process. But to watch Michael and his work ethics and his just combination, his interest and knowledge of the game was really kind of refreshing. I mean, really refreshing, even to me as an old veteran.
Right. How old were you at that time? Do you remember like the first couple games you played with him? Do you remember your age?
Ooh, let's see now.
55?
Uh, 52 maybe. 53.
52.
That's my favorite number. Yeah. No,
30,
Derek, I was probably
36?
yeah,
36 or
30,
so?
yeah, 36.
And
Yeah.
36, what did you feel at 36 in terms of like was there wear and tear on your body at that time? Did you have other aches and pains that you didn't have before? I know it's a silly question, but I'm curious
Yeah.
because you're like, people consider professional players like superheroes, and so we want to know what's the difference, like how did you feel at that age versus let's say when you were in your mid 20s?
I think what I used an analogy earlier. I said, man, the aches and pains after training camp, the first day of training camp, I mean, there's so many aches and pains, but you come back a couple hours later and still has aches and pain. But the following day, they start gradually going away.
Right.
Uh, but now they do not. And even back then, after the latter stages of the game, has become more of a veteran in the game. years adding up. That
Right.
right there was a little bit of a challenge there because the recovery time and I think they emphasize that even now. You know, this particular team has an extra day of rest, but
Right.
that recovery time for a body that's an aging body, veteran body, like myself during that time, yeah, it was a little bit more time for me. I was feeling the aches and pains a little bit more.
Got it.
Hey,
So
hey, artist. Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead, Greg.
Uh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Greg.
that's
That's fine.
okay. Well, I've been,
I know
I've been,
somebody else got
Pops.
I've been called, I've been called a lot of things on this show. Frank, Fred, Feline.
Pops.
I know Larry Bird is one of your best friends, artists.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about was Larry Bird really a trash talker? And how badly,
Oh man.
and how bad did he talk trash?
Oh, it was so incredible just to listen to him talk about an issue, and then he could back it up. The year that I played with him, he went to the All-Star game, and he was a three-point shooter, and Danny Ainge was also in that contest, and he always, Danny, t- I'm gonna kick your ass. I mean, you just forget it. If you want to, you can forfeit. I mean, the prize to me because I'm the winner. It's mine. And he
Wow.
went out and he actually did it. He won that 3-point shooting
10 grand.
contest.
10 grand was the check, right? 10
Yeah,
grand.
yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
mean,
Let me ask you a question,
uh,
artist, about Bird and about Jordan. You play with both of them. You know, you also you hear a lot about like Stockton. You know, like great guard who makes puts the ball where you want to get it. You know, when you're a center, he
yeah,
makes the
great
team around
passer.
him better. Who is
Yeah.
better at making everybody around him better, in your opinion, Jordan or Bird or anybody else you played with? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like who made everybody on the team better because of him? You know.
Oh man, any one of those guys on your team certainly was going to make it better. But the surrounding group of individuals, Billy, is that having the great support and the guys having that head, you know, basketball IQ, being observant, being able to know what it takes to make a difference on your team and what you as an individual insert yourself in and not, being such an individualist. And that's what they said about Michael Jordan when he first came into the game. But he had to be that individualist because for him and his approach to the game and interest and uh, you know uh, the intensity that he brought to the game, he had to play at that level and like that. And so that was I mean, that to have Larry Bird or Michael Jordan on your team, I mean, that's an incredible plus.
Yeah. Artist, when are you going to run for governor?
Oh, Derek, man, I contemplated, and I got to sit down with my family again. I got to sit down with all my entire family, and that includes Frank as well. And we're going to talk about it and kick the tires, and then we'll
Okay.
make a decision.
Wow, that was a great answer, actually.
Kick the tires.
So what else do you want to ask artists? Billy, you got a question?
I
Derek, you got
got
some
more
questions?
questions. I have a bunch.
Well, lay one
But
in
go
there.
ahead,
Go
Billy.
ahead.
Go ahead, Billy.
Well, you know, I
Go ahead, young man. Oh, talk to this old
Yeah,
fart here.
yeah. Talk quick before we dive because Derek's got a little. Derek's got a little longer to wait. So
one leg in the grave and the other one in the banana peel. Now we're going fast, pal.
Yeah. I'll take the banana peel, Bill.
Well, so I mean, defensively, we're talking about all the great centers and everything else. What about just? Do you think the game has the 3-point game with Steph, you know, how they opened up the game is completely changed because of Steph. You think that's what opened up the 3-point thing? Because the game is now it's threes. Look at Boston, threes. Even when they're missing, they're shooting threes. I mean,
Better or worse is the real question. Better or worse?
yeah, is it a better game or a worse game? Did that make it better or worse? That's a good
Oh,
point.
you know, I hate to admit, but absolutely makes it a better game. You know what's happening.
Wow.
Uh, now, uh,
And
of course, I have to acknowledge that the fact we kind of created that from the ABA. You
correct.
Right.
know,
Okay. Okay.
in the NBA, it was like the guy packed it down in the low box, and the guy dribbled it down and just packed it in, turn around. There was averaging like 70 in the NBA, shooting averaging 74, points, 80 points a game. And that was the Bulls' definitive thing, just playing defense. But that 3-point shot, it stretched the game and brought about some real, real excitement.
And your ABA team had 3 Hall of Famers: yourself, Dan Issels, who's a friend of the show, and Louis Dampier, who was the first great 3-point shooter. Wasn't he, Artis?
Absolutely, just an incredible 3-point shooting exhibition. And you look at Dan, his size, he was able to stretch the floor. He was very good from behind the 3-point arc. He knocked down a number of shots in. And as you mentioned, Frank, that combination, we had 4 Hall of Famers from the 1975 championship team, ABA team, to enter the Hall of Fame. And that's Hubie Brown, Louis Dampier, Dan Issel, and of course myself.
And I believe that everybody pretty much agrees that your 75 ABA team would have kicked the crap out of anybody in the NBA.
Believe it or not. Oh, absolutely, we would have. But man, I had never seen so much confidence in a team, in an organization, and than that particular team, the Kentucky Colonel.
Wow.
So I just want to. Okay, so we're talking about a college team, right?
No,
the
No,
ABA team.
ABA team.
Okay. Okay, so because this is a good
if you
question.
if you were old enough, you would have known that.
You got me. Okay, so this is a very good question that is perfect for today. So basically what you're saying, Artist, and this is, I'm going to make a statement, but there's a question in here, which is that your team, let's say the greatest, we won't even pick that team. We'll pick the greatest players from your era playing against the greatest players of modern era or modern times, however you want to refer to it. You get to pick the players, and obviously we get to pick the players from this time. Do you think that your team beats the team of today?
Well, I have to believe that. I absolutely have to believe it. I mean, there's no question. One of them say, "Hey, Derrec, let me think about that a little bit." No way. Absolutely, we would. Physically and every aspect of it, we had some great players there. Quick, strong. I forgot to say, strong.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, that is a difference.
and I'm going to ask Derrec, whose rules do they play by? If they play by the rules of Artis' era, they would kick the crap out of these guys
They'd
today.
be dead, actually.
Yeah, I mean, even today, you never see an NBA star. I mean, you're not going to see guys foul out like like the Joker or Jordan. They're not going to foul out because I mean, people pay money to see them play, and they give them a lot of leeway. You just touch them and you foul. I mean, they didn't give you that kind of.
Yeah, like Artis said, he had 3 fouls in the first 3 minutes against the Lakers
exactly.
that
In
year.
the playoffs.
In the
And I'm
playoffs.
talking about the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
So you suspect there was a little funny business behind closed doors with those files, huh?
No, I won't say that, but
Oh,
it
okay.
was.
All right. Well, I'll say
I mean, now
That's
part
hilarious.
of being a player is learning how to flop. As soon as the guy touches, you got to go like him. It's part of the game now. It's like, oh yeah, well
Yeah,
he's a crafty vet.
well, that's the reason they elevate the intensity in the playoffs this year because there was so much flopping, and that was just, I mean, they start finding the players, but how do you determine what was a flop and what was not? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
so they allow it to be a little bit more
Good.
physical. A lot more activity is taking place now
And
if you observe in the playoffs.
and how much fine can you put on a guy that's making $15 million to
Yeah.
make it make sense?
Is
Yeah.
that per game?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just about. What
Yeah.
what what do you enjoy watching more, Artis? Do you enjoy watching the NBA or college basketball?
Or the WNBA.
Yeah, you know, I really enjoyed the Final Four at the collegiate level,
Mm.
and kind of in the NBA, I like the playoffs. You know, there's some games I don't have a chance to watch it, many games during the course of the season, but the playoffs, it become very intense, and the game, it, and that's when you start separating the good teams and the great teams and just the mediocre teams. So um, playoffs to me is a little bit different, kind of a game that really kind of generate my interest.
Got it. I have a few other questions. So you played during a time you mentioned that they were burning the cities during, you were at Jacksonville and the cities were burning around the area that you were in, and you grew up during a time where there was a bunch of racial tension.
Derek,
Yes.
let me just make a little bit. This thing was a little bit. Now I said when we was in the playoffs, I mean, in the NCAA tournament, the first round.
Okay.
There was a burning on like Florida Avenue. I mean, rioting in
Right.
Florida Avenue, not burning the cities around. No, no, that was
Okay.
it's a little bit, but those type things did happen. By 1968, when I was in junior college, and Martin Luther King was assassinated, then there was burning all 1968. Now this is just a couple of years before, a year before I had gone to Jacksonville. So that's the kind of attention and environment there were.
Yeah, so that's what I was sort of getting at. I want to understand how you were able to even focus on being an elite level athlete, and you know uh, there were you could say that the things that were going on outside of basketball were you could possibly say that they were more important than basketball. And how were you able to take your mind off of those things and focus on basketball?
Uh, Derek, one wise man said, take care of the things that you can focus on. I mean,
Right.
focus on the thing you can take care of. And that during that time, everything else was out of my control, the things that was happening around me. And so the only really thing that really had my thought and interest, focus, and health, everything was just kind of staying in basketball because everything else around me was really very intense, very it was just
Chaotic.
it was tragic what was happening in the country and what was happening to people as far as their thoughts and the way they focus on other individuals. They review other individuals like blacks and whites. I mean, just that time during that time, it was a situation where I I really only focus on which was just basketball and my academics studies because all the other things meant something negative and there was nothing that I could do to control that.
Yeah. And did any of that bleed into your world?
Uh, what do you mean bleed into my world?
Did you experience, I mean, this may be a silly question, but I think people would like to know, did you experience any racism so at Jacksonville or at any of the other colleges that you went to play at were there any experiences that you dealt with that you thought were a little bit odd compared to, let's say, other players on the team?
I'm going to answer
Oh,
for you. I'm going to answer. I'm going to just give you my perspective, because
Okay.
I was with Artis in the dorms at that time, and he would get incredible hate mail, and
Really?
he would just, end this and then that, and I'm going to shoot you, and Artis would just look at it. He would read them, and he would laugh that laugh. That one. He said, and he would just shrug it off. He said, "Look at this one, Frankie." And I'm sure it hurt him, but now you can answer the question, Artis.
Wow.
yeah. Uh, I had those experiences, just incredible. I'm going to tell you a little story. This is really true. When my at Gardner Webb, uh, we had one of the we played a game, just an incredible game, and a couple of kids. They were just like that. Did kind of unconscious of the racial tension around them, around all of us. But they said, "Oh man, you guys were so. I mean, played such an incredible game. It was just unbelievable." And the three of us, it was Arthur Roberts, Ernie Fleming, and myself. And he said, "Well, come on!" And right across the board, we in Boiling Springs, North Carolina, and just gapped and right across to the line, less than probably about 10 miles across to the line. And so those kids, and this really happened. He says, "Listen, why don't you guys come and go to this bar with us?" And I kind of, I was saying, "Baby, we should do this." I'm saying this in my mind, but my partner there said, "Okay." And Ernie was from Fall River, Massachusetts. He had never experienced anything like this, but Arthur was from Detroit, and it's like, but me personally, I knew basically what was going to happen, but I went along anyways.
That's
So we
terrible.
get to this bar, and as we all walked up, the approach to go into the bar, the guy at the bar, the door says, "Hey, you all can come in," pointing to the white kids, and says, "You all could come in, but they can't." I mean, in this parking lot, this little hole in the wall bar down in South Carolina, with one big light out there in the parking lot, and those guys says they end up going inside instead of getting back in the car and all coming back to the school. But they got in the car and left us out there in the parking lot until they went in and watered
What?
their hole. And yes, and this really happened. And
Wow.
Wow.
and the one point is, if that was the kind of environment that anything could have happened right at that time. If the right guys would come along, I wouldn't be here today. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
and they was right there. It was just an incredible blessing that found those guys came back out. We came back over to the campus, but I said, you know, I should have known, but I was blessed enough to get back home.
I'll tell you a story that Coach Joe Williams tells in Jacksonville Who. In 1969, the team went to a chicken restaurant, and they walked into the kitchen restaurant, the chicken restaurant, and the guy says, "You can't eat there. We've got three blacks." And Coach Williams says, "Well, if 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 they can't eat there, we can't eat there." Because they're a part of our team and they're every bit as equals as us. And if you want the entire Jacksonville University basketball team to walk out, just tell us we can't eat in the restaurant, and then they ate in the restaurant.
Wow. It's great.
But Frank, there was another part of that version. They all went in the restaurant to eat, and they sat down. I mean, this is the truth. And Joe said, they said, "Okay, we'll feed y'all, but we can't feed them. We'll feed them in the kitchen."
Right.
And
Wow.
and so uh, Joe says, "Okay, that's all right. We'll all go back there to the
Yep.
kitchen." So
Wow.
Yep.
that's certainly was one of the incidents that happened. There was so many of them, and I know when we would take the bus to a different destination, different locations, um, the coach would get off the bus and run inside and find out. Then they come run back out and get back on the bus. We
Oh, to the
continue
next
on.
place. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Unbelievable.
But there is so many incidents. I mean, during all the way up to that I could share with you. I mean, there's a million personal experiences that I've had that was on borderline. The reason I'm still here today.
yeah, well,
Unbelievable.
you know, it was probably hard. You're not a discreet person to carry around. It's probably hard to move you around, you know, in the shadows, I should say. I have I want to shift gears to something. So if you're standing up, uh, so you're 7'2". If you're standing up and you reach up to the rim, how close are you to the rim?
Okay, before I start shrinking.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, when my tip fingers and the rim is 10 feet,
Uh-huh.
and when I would push it all the way up to the top, I'm 2.5 inches from touching the rim.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
2.5. But now we're not including the incredible shrinking man now.
Yeah, I know.
Hey,
I know.
Artis, if you had to, you couldn't dunk today, could you?
I wouldn't even attempt. But there's a young kid just I mean, you talking about tearing an Achilles. Young players have tear their Achilles all the time now, and just a movement. And it's amazing how that happens. But if an old man like me trying to if I jumped over a dime, I'd tear Achilles.
How
Hey,
about
I give myself credit. I can do it a quarter.
I think you probably do it. I think you could.
how,
Okay, so I know we've stretched it out a little bit, but I have a question about that. So if you're that close to the rim, and there are players now that you know, they have a bunch of players that are really tall players in the league. Do you think that they should raise the height of the rim and also expand the court size? I think we talked about this before, but I'm curious.
Yeah, Derek, I think you're talking about getting prejudiced in because what
Okay.
happened to the little guy? You just,
Sorry, little
you
guy.
know, yeah. No, really. No, I think it's just great the way it is because then, certainly if you elevate it to 11 feet or whatever, you're going to add a different dimension, especially you tell a little guy, what's the little guy name for the Knicks?
oh,
He would be done. It'd be
oh,
over for him.
Brunson.
Brunson?
Brunson, yeah. Jalen Brunson, yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's a great appreciation.
Hey,
Go ahead.
Artis, but I know Billy's got a question. Why don't you ask your question first?
Quick
because I just-
question: how are your knees holding up, Artis, with all the banging it took over the years on the court? The knees, that's
Well,
usually
Billy is just an incredible blessing. I mean, for
wow.
them right now, no knee replacement. I think I had some surgery in whenever they first created the arthroscope, because that was one of the things I asked the doctor, are you going to use the new procedure? He said, oh, no, absolutely not. We're just not, we just gonna make an incision and go in and do the little repairs. But
The meniscus.
that's it, Billy.
That's yeah.
And I mean, it's just been an incredible blessing to be able to continue
Oh,
with
that's
the
great, man.
same equipment.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's
great. I
great.
mean, I would think all the banging, up and down the court for a big man, especially
Yeah,
the knees.
absolutely.
That's great, man.
Hey, Artis, I just want to ask you one question before we close. I know it was very different back when you were playing. How many sets of uniforms did you have? Were you responsible for washing your own uniforms? And what did a long road trip be like toward the end of that trip?
Stinky.
Oh man, I remember they gave me two jerseys, and especially when you go on a long road trip. And man, no way to wash them. So sometimes, I think that jersey would play defense for you, because it was kind of
Wow.
heavy on your body and a little bit strong under the arms. But those days, you had. I remember one day I kind of washed the jersey out in the sink, and then I took it and laid it over one of the lamp lights, and all of a sudden, I'm just kind of watching TV. Turn around and I look over and see some smoke. And I ran over and the shirt was kind of burning a little bit. So I had went out and played the next night with a little dark spot. Because there was no replacement. Yeah.
That is so
That's
interesting.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Different times.
Different times indeed. Too bad Derrec didn't experience them. Anyway, with that, Artis, thank you so much.
Great seeing you, man.
It's been great seeing you again.
Absolutely, guys.
Thank you,
Fantastic.
Artis.
Thank you.
You're the
Yeah.
best, man.
And Frank,
Don't forget the book.
Oh, wait. Where's mine?
Let's push his.
Oh, let's push
The
ours.
A train. The A train.
The A train. Acclaim Press. The A train. Here comes. If these lips could talk. Lamar's Gamble. Combustible. Pick them all up. They're all there.
Here comes the
Acclaim
A
Press.
train.
Acclaimpress.com
And Amazon.
and Amazon.
Wherever good books
Thank
are
you.
sold. Thank you, Artis. You're the best, man.
Thank
Great
you.
seeing
Thanks,
you,
Artis.
man.
Great.
Yeah.
Stay out.